Welcome back, Shalligators. Well, congratulations are in order for Paris Hilton because she is engaged to her boyfriend of 1 year, Carter Reum. And you know what? Does this sound like familiar? Are you guys having deja vu right now? Paris Hilton engaged. Oh yeah, I am. Do you know why? Because this is her 5th fiance. Her 5th time watching a man get down on his knee going, oh my God, yes, no, this is the one. This is forever. This is it. Sticking out her little finger and looking at a new diamond. Girl, I hope you kept all those rings. I'd keep getting engaged too if I was getting $8 million rings each time. So why is this time different? Why are we even talking about it if maybe this is just another chronic mistake? I'm going to break down all of her past relationships, how she's changed throughout these, and why I actually do believe Carter is the one, and not just because I know him. So we're going to get some insider information. But more than that, we are going to talk about how to know when we're ready to settle down. Because I asked you guys on my Instagram, what's the topic here? And that was overwhelmingly number one. Green flags that a relationship is headed in the right direction. And more than just green flags for the relationship, green flags for yourself. How do you know when you're ready to make this huge adult decision and enter a contract with the government? Because that's what marriage is. Oh, I've got some unpopular opinions. But before we get started, follow me on Instagram at shallonxo. If you guys have a video that you want from me, like a little personal thing, a birthday wish, a pep talk, a love question, anything like that, head on over to Cameo. You can also submit a question to me on my website, shallonlester.com, and be sure to sign up for my new blog, Eat, Pray, Love, link right down there. It's taking you through my real life dating foibles as I'm like newly single in Montana. Oh, I'm going to be posting some Tinder profiles. Oh, I'm going to be posting them. Men have no idea what they're doing. Men have no fucking idea what they're doing. Can we make these videos for men now? Because I feel like we're good. I feel like we're like Olympian athletes, just like tweaking our performance a little, and they're like hurt the dirt, just like stumbling around single cell protozoa versions of what we want. But I digress. But not all men are like that. And Carter Reum, Paris's boyfriend of a year, like I said, I don't think is one of those. So Carter just proposed on her 40th birthday, like they're on a private island, there was a cabana, lights, you know, the whole proposal thing. And he got her this spectacular ring, and apparently he commissioned like the great-great-grandson of like Francois Cartier, like Cartier, to design it, and it's like evocative of the Eiffel Tower. I've said before in videos, because we did a whole series on Paris Hilton when her documentary came out, and we talked about when it's smart to play dumb. Like, is that kind of a good strategy? And also broke down, like, is Paris an alpha female? And my assessment is, you know what? I believe that she is. And we're going to read some quotes from her that kind of speak to this. Was she always an alpha? Maybe not. But she, love her or hate her, you cannot deny that she has an unshakable sense of self. And I admire that. Whether or not I admire the person, I'm like, you know what? Fuck, they know themselves and they know what they deserve and they know what they want and they're not apologizing and they're not embarrassed. They're like, this is me. Take it or leave it. I might leave it, actually, but thank you. I appreciate that. You know? So, I mean, she can't be dumb if she's built this like $1 billion cosmetic fragrance, whatever empire she's got. So to say she's just some like ditzy blonde, well, so you think you're smarter than her. Okay. Do you have $1 billion? Did you personally net $1 billion last year? How about $1 million? Did you net $1 million? Oh, okay. So maybe she's not so dumb. Okay. Carter proposed, and like I said, I have known Carter like in our New York days. We don't like talk now, but if we ran into each other, be like, hey, let's get a drink. He is wonderful. Carter is such a hardworking stand-up guy. He's completely self-made. He was like a hedge funder and then made a lot, I think, on an IPO. Started a vodka company, Vive Vodka. It was like organic. I guess it wasn't technically vodka. Who cares? But it was supposed to be like hangover-free vodka. And it was all over New York. Like, it was just a big thing. And now he's a venture capitalist. And he is just... Carter has this grace about him. And the way he moves through the world is just... It's like he's just kind of bulletproof and like stressors and things just kind of whiz by him. He has a very zen quality to him. And I think that this is why their relationship is going to work out. He doesn't need her. He doesn't need her. When we watched that documentary about Paris, and I think we did a video on how to tell if someone's using you. And remember her dipshit, like, influencer DJ boyfriend from Estonia or Sweden or wherever he is and wherever this accent is supposed to be from. And she was, like, about to perform at this huge rave, this huge music festival, and she was so nervous. And he's like, I cannot hold the computer. Well, how am I supposed to hold it? With my wiener? I can't do it. And she's like, can you not just don't shut the computer? He's like, how I not shut it? I can't do that. And she cut off his fucking wristband and expelled him. She kicked him out. And I was like, if only we had something so satisfying, like a pair of scissors to like physically cut someone out of our life in such a demonstrative, literal way. Loved it. But I feel like that dude, name unknown, photo not available, was very emblematic of the kind of guys she's dated. So let's go through Paris's dating history. Because like I said, this is the 5th fiance. First dude who proposed to her was this model, Jason Shaw, in like 2001. Like kind of before Paris was famous and nobody really cared. They did, obviously none of these resulted in a marriage. Okay, so only fiancés. So they got engaged and they tried to date again in like 2010. Next came Paris Latsis. Paris Casa de Costas Latsis. Casa de Costas Latsis. I would marry him just for that. And I remember her talking about how they met. Like she was at a club one night and everyone's like, come on, we're going back to Paris's house. And she's like, oh, we're going back to my house, I guess. Thanks for telling me. But it wasn't her. It was this other dude, Paris Latsis. Casa de Latsis. If there's a Greek guy watching, can you marry me? I would be so good. I would be so good at being Greek. I tried to learn Greek. Remarkably difficult. My friend Pandora speaks it. Hi, Pandy. Very difficult. And so this dude, he's this Greek shipping heir, and they were like 22, 24, something like that. He proposed to her, gave her like a 24 karat diamond ring, is like, because that's how old she is. I'm like, fuck, I'm glad she wasn't 80. That fell apart. That didn't work. Then she moved on to a different Greek shipping heir, Stavros Niarchos. Now, I'm not sure if they actually were engaged. Cosmo says they were. I think they were confusing him with Paris Latsis. But you know what? 4 fiancés, 5 fiancés, who fucking cares? When you're in numbers that high, you're in Liz Taylor territory, whatever. So then there was Stavros Niarchos. Stavros, my friends and I like still have him in our spank bank. He was the most beautiful boy in the world. And Paris stole him from Mary Kay Olsen, who was like devastated by it. I mean, so there was Stavros. And I could understand why she was dating these like huge sons of scions. That's what she is. She obviously comes from the Hilton fortune. And it's like, people like that pair up. Like Nikki Hilton married a Rothschild. They just understand the life. They understand the obligation. They understand what you say, what you don't say. They're not a fish out of water. And remember how we were talking yesterday in the Kourtney Kardashian, Travis Barker, I keep wanting to say Travis Scott video about opposites, and do opposites attract? What does it take to create a foundation of a relationship? Similarities. Opposites don't attract, you know? Look at the trouble Meghan Markle has had ingratiating herself with the royal family. Hasn't gone super well, right? So it makes sense that powerful people pair up. Why am I saying this? Because after Stavros, Paris kind of dropped off that ledge. She stopped dating these powerful dudes. Yeah, she dated that Madden, the Benji or whatever, the unattractive one. I'm surprised he didn't propose to her because he was like obsessed with her. Maybe he did and we just didn't know about it. I kind of assume that every guy she dates proposes to her. I don't know what that girl does in bed. But here's the thing. After that, she started dating these nobodies. She dated Chris Zilka. Sounds like a disease. He's the guy who was like some D-list actor and got her name Paris on his forearm in that weird Disneyland font. What was that? What was that? Like size 72 Disney font. Ugh. So she told Cosmo that breaking off the engagement with Chris was like the best decision I've ever made. I just don't think he was the right person, and I feel like I'm an incredible woman and I deserve someone so amazing. It just didn't feel right. I've worked way too hard to just give my life to someone. They have to be perfect. I like that. I've always heard that the reason her relationship with Chris ended is because she overheard him on the phone trying to like dime her out, basically like sell information about her, broker deals behind her back, use her, essentially. You don't have to be a billionaire for somebody to be using you. They could be using you for sex, for emotional stimulation, for an ego boost. You could be someone's emotional fidget spinner, and you don't have to be a Hilton. So Paris was a little gun shy, and I feel like she dated these really high profile dudes, these magnates, because she thought, yeah, I mean, they're gonna get my ambition, my business acumen. I mean, maybe, but maybe they all turned around and were like, okay, well, that's cute that you have like a career, but now you need to stay home. Like, come on, you need to stay home. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm on track to make $1 billion. I don't fucking think so. So maybe she overcorrected and went to the side of these dudes who have no life of their own so that they're not going to hold her down. Ironically, though, that's what she always complained about with this Swedish DJ, name not available. She's like, he's always like, she had to set up hidden cameras in her own house because she didn't trust him. And he was always like, where are you? You promised me you no work today. You hang out with me. Oh, I'm so sad in my tiny shorts. And I dance like this at a beach club in Ibiza. This is who I am. So I think after that relationship went bust, Paris was just like lost. I can't date a guy coming from my world because he just wants to control me. I can't date a guy with no life because he wants to control me too. Who the fuck is left? Carter. This is why, again, I think they're going to work. Carter doesn't need her. Doesn't need her money. Doesn't care about clout. If he wanted to be famous, like an Elon Musk type, he could have been and would have been, trust me. That's just not his thing. These other people, if you took away some foundational aspect of who she was, they wouldn't have wanted her. Let's look at the Greek shipping heirs. If you took away her last name, if she was a commoner, no, then no. They wouldn't have wanted her. She wouldn't have ostensibly understood their life or whatever. She wouldn't have been the pedigree that their parents expected to marry, right? It would have been that. The Swedish DJs and the Chris Zilkas, if you took away her money and her clout, well, then who the fuck is this girl? Just some glamorous noodle on a ski slope. Carter. He's an American. He doesn't have this like heir, this dynasty to fulfill, right? Take away her last name. Okay. You take away her money. Okay. I've got plenty of my own. That's why it works. So let's talk about what does make a marriage work. When do you know that it's right? When you don't actually need to get married. That, if you want to boil this video down to one sentence, let it be that. You know you're ready to marry when you don't need to marry. Want and need are two different things, right? Oh, I would love to get married again. Yeah, no, I want to find like my true love. That would be great. I want to be like crazy stupid in love and just head over heels where he goes, I go, and we're building a life together. That would be fantastic. But I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm delighted being by myself. I'm so happy just being alone in my home and spending time with my friends and my dog and horses and just doing what I want. If love comes along and I feel that feeling, amazing. But I don't feel deficient without it. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And if you look around at girls like, oh, I just want to get married. I'm so ready. Are you ready? You're not ready to be a wife. You're just tired of being alone. And baby girl, those two are not the same things. That is not a synonym statement. Let's look at The Bachelor. I hate watching The Bachelor because it's just an exercise in such pure desperation and hair extensions. I mean, the girls are really pretty, but like the desperation wafting off of them is so pathetic because they are so pretty. It's like you're all named Lauren and Hannah. You're all like real estate agents or flight attendants. Why do you... And when they're like, I'm 23 and I'm just like, I'm so ready to find my person. You know the person you need to find, baby girl? You. That's the person you actually are missing. It's not this fucking guy who's like, maybe a helicopter pilot, maybe not, maybe a closeted homosexual, we don't know. It's not him. It's you. Being married does not take away anything that you're stressing about now, because marriage can be the ultimate emotional getaway car, but it's a getaway car that society ships. Oh, okay, great. You're getting married. Great. I can't tell you how many of my sorority sisters got married like literally right out of college, like the year or two after college. Maybe some of them stretched it to like 24 and a half. And correlatively, these girls had no real career ambitions. Not that they didn't have a career, but they didn't have a dream. Like one of them, yeah, she went to law school and ostensibly you look at her, it's like, wow, she's got it all figured out. She fucking hated law school. She hates practicing law. And you know what else she hates? Her husband. Because she didn't do the work. She didn't do the work that most of us are doing. Well, I shouldn't say most. Most of us here in the Shallontrage, we are the work doers, right? The work of learning to be alone. Of learning to love yourself. And okay, forget learning to be alone, because that is hard. That's really tough. We're social creatures. And I'm not saying you have to wander the earth by yourself like the Incredible Hulk forever, but because we want people in our life, and that's normal and that's fine. It's not so much learning to be alone. It's having an emotional real estate to inhabit when you are alone, right? A dream, friends, a fitness and health routine. I mean, let's get granular about this. Self-care, priorities that don't involve something with a fucking penis attached to it. She didn't do that work because on some level, it seemed easier and less frightening for her to get to know another person, her trick-ass husband, than to get to know herself. And when you think about that, it's like, why? You know, like what inside of her was so scary she couldn't look right at it, and instead she focused way hard on this dude? Well, that's a good question. When we do that, when we latch onto someone, I don't want you, I need you. You have to get me out of this. Get me out of this self-esteem. Get me out of this career spiral, this purgatory. I don't know what I'm doing. Get me out of this family. Get me out of this small town. Get me fucking out of this. Why can't you get yourself out of it? I wonder if the thing she wouldn't look at was a dream that she didn't feel like she could enact, right? Usually that's it. It's, I can't actually face my dream of, hey, I want to move to the big city and be a writer. Who did that? It was me. Because it's just not going to happen. And it's better to have a dream that I don't go after, that always sort of exists in possibility. So I don't really feel like a failure. I just feel maybe lazy, but I don't feel like a failure. Rather than go after the dream, not have it come true, then I have to look at my life and be like, fuck, what happens now? This didn't work. Let me tell you something. 90%, and I didn't exactly live in like some backwater Oklahoma town. Sorry, but you know. I've lived in big cities. I've lived around the world. I've met some of the most high-powered people you can possibly imagine. And I can say, without a doubt, 90% of people who go after a dream and dig their fucking teeth into it, orient their life around it, don't half-ass it, they full-ass it. They make the sacrifices. You know what happens to those people? They achieve it. They achieve it. They hit the top of the charts. They sell that book deal. They get the corner office. They buy a company or flip a house or whatever. They do it. Now, they might have to pivot and do a second act at some point. I did. This is my second act. But what they have is this grittiness. They have this sense of, you know what? I did it once. I'll fucking do this again. And when I was embarking on this YouTube career in the night, when I would wake up literally in these like anxiety panic spirals about like getting this career off the ground, I would go back to one thing. Honey, you've done this already. You did this at 23. You jumped into something you had no idea about. You made it work. You climbed the top of the ladder. You honestly think you can't do it again? Now, 10, 15 years later with so much more wisdom and experience and connections? And I went right back to sleep and I slept like a baby. So if you're looking at marriage, like I need it, I'm so ready. I'm so ready to get married. No, you're not. No, you're not. You are ready to stop being alone with yourself. You are ready to get out of the real estate that you're in because it's not a great place to be. Whose fault is that? It's yours. And I'm saying this with love because we can't offload this. It's my parents' fault. No, bitch. No, it isn't. You're talking about marriage. You're talking like an adult. Therefore, the downside of that, the other side of that coin is that you are an adult, ostensibly, because you want to get married and do an adult thing. So that means you're an adult and you have actually complete control over your own life. Uh-oh, yuck. But which, you can't be a baby in one category and a grown-up in the other. It doesn't work like that. So which is it? Pick a lane. I never want to feel like a baby. I never want to feel like a victim. I never want to be pitied. I would rather be a braggy douche, but a braggy douche with power over her own life to craft that douchebaggery as I see fit, than to be this kite in the wind, this passenger in my own life. No, it's everyone else's fault. No, my misfortunes are my own. But so are my successes. I don't have to get up. Hey, I would love to thank my agent, the Academy. I would Taylor Swift. I would like to thank myself. You know, I want to look around my life and be like, I did this. I bought these houses. I have that car. I take care of my animal. I made these friends. Like, I am the master and commander of my life. And ironically, when we can look at our life like that, when we can sort of become this like island in terms of responsibility, ironically, that's when we are ready to bring someone else into our life. It's crazy how it works, but it does work like that. But when we feel like everyone else is in control of my life, then what do you want a husband for? To have one more person lording over you? Maybe. This seems very 50 Shades of Grey, very Dom sub, where you just want someone to come in and say, just make the decisions for me. If I got pregnant, then I wouldn't have to like decide what I'm doing with my life. If I got married, no one's asking me about my career. That's me because I'm a bride. That's why my friends in college got married. Because if you're 24 and engaged, no one's asking you about your career. Oh my God, you're getting married. Yeah, I am. I'm getting married. I'm a bride. They asked me what I was doing with my career because I was single. Well, how's your career going? Did you sign the book deal yet? When are you getting that office? Okay. But the questions people ask a bride are very positive. They're very encouraging. They're very affirming to that decision. What people ask a single career woman are not. Are you sure? Oh, you don't just want to settle down? Really? No, look at this apartment. It's so small. Oh. I feel like this is a metaphor for something, right? Something shiny falling off your body. But if you look at it like that, no shit, a lot of people want to choose to get married. And this isn't a video on don't get married. Well, no, it is. It kind of is. Marriage, just bear with me on this. Marriage is like suicide. You can always do it tomorrow. There's no rush. There's no rush. Take your time and make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. You know my theory as someone who's been married. This is now my theory on marriage. When you think about getting married, are you thinking about being a bride or a wife? A bride is very fun and it's youthful and it's beautiful. A wife. It's like, wow, same dick for the rest of your life. Neat. Those dirty dishes in the sink that he's letting soak, even though it was a bowl of cereal, the rest of your life. Cool. You see a hot dude at the bar? Fucking go home. You're not talking to him. You're a wife. All those boring stories about his coworkers or his mother-in-law, rest of your life. I'm not in any rush for the rest of my life to start in that category. I'm in a rush for the rest of my life to start in terms of wealth building, in terms of travel, in terms of real estate holdings. But a person in my life who now has to have at least 50% of my attention, all my decisions are oriented around them. No, I'm actually good. I'm good. To do whatever you want is luxury. And it's funny that like married people will look down on the single. It's like, oh, it's so sad. Bitch, you're sad. I can go to Paris for the weekend. All I need is a dog sitter. You got to clear it with like trick ass Roy and then the work. I'm not here to shit on marriage, but I am here to throw a light on the reality of what a lifelong partnership is. And like I said at the beginning, a government contract. You have to ask a judge if you can break up. That is wild. That is bananas to me. What if in high school you had to get permission from your high school principal to dump your boyfriend? That would seem insane to you. Insane to you. How is this any different? This is more extreme. You have to hire lawyers. You got to do all this shit. What? All of this because you don't want to be alone and answer basic questions about yourself and what you want out of life? Grow the fuck up. Grow up. I've always said I don't think there should be divorce lawyers. I think if you're getting into an adult situation, you got to figure out a way to get out of it, like an adult. So here's my workaround for marriage. Get engaged, buy the dress, buy the cake, eat that cake. Have a big wedding, just don't get legally married. Why do you need to? Whose business is it even? I mean, nobody even needs to know that. And then a few years down the line, if you're like, oh, I really have this itch to get legally married, which honestly, I bet you won't. Some of my friends did this. And she's like, we never even think about it. We took our vows in front of God, our friends, our family. That's marriage. I don't need something notarized in a clerk's office. Like, I don't care. Down the road, if you do, renew your vows in a Caribbean island, get married, great. But give yourself some time to adjust to this. And engagement is not the time when you adjust to marriage. Engagement is when you plan. And before I had when I was like a young buck and I was like, when I get engaged, it's going to be the time when we're in therapy and we're just working through everything. It's just going to be a time to dig deep and make sure we're compatible. No, it's actually the time when you pick out chairs and centerpieces. You have not a minute to breathe. The train leaves the station. You basically go from girlfriend to wife overnight. Engagement is just a big ass planning session. So here's the number one question to ask yourself if you're thinking about getting married or if you think you're ready for marriage. How do I picture my life being different? And focus that answer particularly on a feeling of relief. Oh, now I don't have to worry about blah, 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 blah. The right answer is, now I don't have to worry about going on dates and having these shitty experiences. And I found my buddy. I found my person, my best friend. That's a good answer, right? The wrong answer is, now I don't have to stress about my career and I can just focus on building a family. I'm not saying you have to have a career. Not at all. Be a stay-at-home wife, be a stay-at-home mom if that's your jam. But if you're phrasing that answer with the ripple of, now I don't have to focus on it, that to me tells me that actually you do have a dream that you're too chicken shit to look at. Am I striking a chord? Good. I want to strike that chord and I want to stir it up so that you can do something about it and not compound your problems. Think of marriage as alcohol. If you're I'm not confident enough to go back to law school, so I'm just going to start drinking. People would be like, what? No. You would acknowledge that would not only not solve the issue of going back to law school, it would add a whole new problem on top. Marriage is not different. Only alcohol doesn't talk back to you. Alcohol doesn't have opinions on appetizers at Applebee's. Alcohol doesn't raid your bank account and go on a boys' trip to Miami. Alcohol doesn't do these things. It doesn't have in-laws. It is a static thing. A whole ass other person? Wow. Alcohol also doesn't get you pregnant. So if you think finding a man is going to absolve XYZ, fill in the blank, and it's important we look at it, that's not good. I am saying this from my own experience. I loved my husband. I mean, I still love him. I'll love him till the day I die. And we had a fantastic dating relationship, but I was in this we need to get engaged. And I just got so focused on it. I mean, I didn't bring it up a lot. He might say differently about that. But not so coincidentally, my career was a little bit stagnant at that time. I was at Star. On paper, I was doing everything right. I was rising through the ranks. That was great. But I knew that wasn't the dream in my heart. This was. I knew that I was capable of more, that I wasn't meant to work for someone for the rest of my life. I knew it. It didn't even have a voice. It didn't even have a shape. It was this amorphous thing, right? It was just a clump of cells. It wasn't yet a fetus that I was ready to birth out. And it stayed that little amorphous clump because I was too wussy to look at it. I was too afraid. I thought it was too unbelievable, too ridiculous, too outlandish that I could ever be a YouTuber, that I could ever do this career. But it wasn't outlandish that I could be a wife. That seems way more possible because I got this incredible man in front of me who loves me and he wants to get married. So, am I going to choose something that's wildly unstable and unknown? Or am I going to veer towards stability and a known, even if that known is actually not what I want, not healthy necessarily for either one of us at this time? Guess what I chose? And it ended. Went up in fucking flames. Had I been more honest with myself, had I said, you know what? We don't need to get married now. I'm going to take the next year and I'm really going to work on this career. And this is going to be my focus. We're still going to be together. We're going to live together. But this marriage thing is on the back burner. I need to work on myself. I need to get myself to a place of wholeness because you can't be half of a whole if you don't know which half you are. We probably would have still been married. We probably would have gotten married a year later, maybe 2. Who gives a shit? And he'd probably still be my husband. And I think about that a lot. A lot. And the reason I am so evangelical about knowing ourselves and looking our dreams in the face is because, for God's sakes, I'm trying to spare you from this. I am trying to spare you from this. You know, maybe one of Paris's exes was a soulmate, but the timing was wrong. You know, maybe she wasn't rock solid and I want to be a businesswoman and a designer and I want to make $1 billion. Maybe she's like, yeah, okay, I am just a party girl. I'll be a wife. And then when she was in that role, it felt so wrong to her. And she was just like clawing to get out of this relationship and incinerated it. But maybe had she taken time to be like, nope, this is who I am. This is who I am. Maybe at 24, she would have found a guy who's like, I love that that's who you are. Yeah. Maybe these Greek shipping years would have been like, you know what? We don't even need to go on the second date. Maybe she could have saved herself a lot of heartache. Maybe she could have completely remade those relationships and they would have worked. But I do know that everything is right on time. And I think getting married at 40 is like genius. You're going to live another 45 years. 45 years. And again, if the ticking clock is the thing, you can acquire a baby. Adopt one. If I have one, you can have one of mine. How about that? We can, it'll be like a Google Drive, but for a baby. I guess that'd be called an orphanage. No, I won't give you my baby. I can't even give Cowboy to a friend for an hour to take him for a walk like my child. I want to know your guys' thoughts on marriage. If you married early or not early. I didn't marry early and I made the exact same mistakes that I would have had I married at 25. And this is the thing. I said this in a video the other day. We all think we're just going to grow out of things. No, we won't. We don't grow out. We grow up. We level up. Growth is painful. That's why they're called growing pains. But we have to do it because that pain is going to come in some form or another. That pain is going to come and you can choose if it's growth and you're like, okay, this hurts and it's uncomfortable, but I know that I'm getting better for doing this work. Or that pain can come in divorce court. That pain can come when he's tearing off his ring and throwing it at you. That pain can come when you've booked the whole wedding reception and he pulls out. It's up to you. I now choose the pain of growth. And priorly, because I was not making the choice to choose the pain of growth, I was therefore by default choosing the pain of just pain. I was choosing the bad pain. I don't do that anymore. And I don't want you guys to do that either. I want to know your thoughts on marriage. Do you think Paris is going to work? I'm excited. You know, good for her. And good for her for waiting. Well, she didn't wait because this is like her 5th engagement. But I really do think that she's going to make it down the aisle with this one. And I think, you know what? Take as much time as you need. Like I said, marriage, there's no rush. You can always do it tomorrow. We'll be back with a video on Rihanna. Her birthday is Saturday. We're going to be talking about how to be a bad, unbothered bitch. It's a journey. I'll see you later, Shalligators.